redshirt freshman quarterback, and I think it's really rattled the entire South Carolina offense, which they couldn't figure out who was going to run the football for them anyway. With Rocket Sanders being out, they still haven't answered the question throughout 30 minutes.
So, Brad, you saw a lot of frustration from Shane Beamer on the sideline. What have you been thinking about how Illinois has been playing and coaching this game?
That's a great half for Illinois. I mean, I don't know that. I mean, other than the one play where they don't score on the touchdown, they should be up 14-3. I mean, and that's really and that was a bad call. We know we've seen the replay. We've seen that he was in and he was down before the ball got loose either. So either way, it's either down or it's a touchdown. So, that's a great half of football. They did a great job of making Sellers make reads and throw the ball into like coverages and things like that. Dink and dunk, no big plays, not letting him beat him with his legs. I mean, fantastic job of scheming. Now, I think offensively, there's openings for them. And, obviously they should have 14 points. Even the other drive, they had I thought that maybe like one call, the second down call was maybe a bad call there. But, I mean, they were moving the ball there, too. So, after that first drive, they moved the ball well. They just, only have 7 points to show despite that. But I'm really impressed with their game plan. I thought they've done a great job with that.
I think the game plan has been great. I think Matt's right. You got to look at the job that Aaron Henry is doing, and he's growing up right before our eyes, and he's starting to get better and better. All these coaches, when you have a month to prepare, it shows you the coaches who are going into depth and to detail. South Carolina looks to be frustrated. I mean, I know they want to blame the officiating about the way Illinois is doing the substitution patterns, but they should be more concerned about why they can't move the ball against Illinois' defense, in my personal opinion, because all four of us have said the score literally should be 14-3. Now, the key to me to this game is how they're going to come out in the second half, because great teams make adjustments. And for all the fans out there that, are texting and tweeting and watching this game, this is what, Josh Whitman has envisioned. He has a coach that's going to give you a chance to play. Now, we don't know the outcome of this game, but people thought this was going to be a blowout, and Illinois is competing, and they're playing well, and they're giving themselves a chance to win.
So I'm gonna throw something out here, because I tell you what, I have been super impressed, quite honestly, by both quarterbacks. Luke Altmaier dealt with a sack early on the first drive that, let's face it, the Luke Altmaier of the past, with that pass rush and what they are reputed to be, probably would have freaked out a little bit. No big deal. They haven't had the ball that much this half. He's still 6 for 8 with over 100 yards, and his legs have kept some things alive. And I'm going to give Sellers some credit. He has been forced to play the type of game he doesn't want to play, and he hasn't turned the ball over. I think we're seeing two quarterbacks actually play quite well against two defenses that have schemed very effectively. Matt?
Yeah, I thought that first drive of the game that Illinois took over, it was really kind of just let's see what South Carolina's going to do. I mean, obviously Illinois went 3 and out, and they kind of needed to see where the pressure was coming and what they were going to do with Luke. And then I thought they regrouped. And quite frankly, I think Barry got together with Luke and said, hey, ball's got to come out. And you saw it in the second drive. You saw it, on that slant route to Hank Beatty. 1, 2, 3, ball comes out. And I think that's been the key for Luke. Obviously, there was the scramble play to Franklin for the touchdown, which is just Luke kind of just making a play. But other than that, I think ball has come out. Illinois has been efficient. They've been able to run the football with Aiden Lafferty, which I think that I talked to Bart Miller about earlier this week, about how this last month of the year they've been able to run the football. I think South Carolina has a big problem, guys. I think they don't know right now who they can turn to in the run game, and right now their run game is Lenoris Sellers. And I think that Illinois has figured out a way to keep their pass rushers in their bare front on the outside and force him back in toward the pocket. And if they can continue to keep doing that, South Carolina's going to have to figure out a running back that can possibly take some pressure off of Lenoris Sellers, because I think if he continues to take this kind of punishment, he's a big dude. But Illinois has basically gambled on the idea that he cannot beat them right now singularly with their right arm. And South Carolina is kind of trying to figure out how their run game is going to work without Rocket Sanders. And I don't think through 30 minutes, Mike Shula and Shane Beamer have figured that out yet. If they don't figure it out over the next 30 minutes, I think Illinois wins the football game.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the interesting thing about this is the one thing that I do have a concern about right now, and this is that whole wear down thing. South Carolina's run 40 plays, Illinois has run 21 plays, even though the yardage are very similar. I thought that they, I think that's the concern maybe. Now, Illinois does rotate their guys a lot, so they get a lot of guys in there, but you just hope they don't get worn down, and then Sellers is able to run a little bit at the end of the game. But this first possession, we're going to see what South Carolina does to counter the way Illinois has been defending them in this first possession. And then we get to see, maybe we see something a little different from Illinois. Do they come? And you saw that when they got in the red zone, Illinois brought pressure. They just didn't bring pressure outside the red zone. And so everybody's like, why are they rushing 3 or not doing that? To keep them in front of them. They don't want to let them have a big play. And at the end of the day, South Carolina has 3 points at the half. If you just said before the game South Carolina's going to score 3 points at the half, then I think most people would take that. I mean, this is a team that's on a roll, right? They won 6 in a row. So this is a really good half of football. Now, who makes the adjustment here? And what does Illinois do to adjust to South Carolina's adjustments? But I would guess that Illinois is going to do something a little bit different, especially on third down, maybe. Bring an extra rusher, bring some from a different spot, something like that, just to keep them off balance.
And for me, like I said to you earlier, Brandon, and you just mentioned it as well, the first drive by both teams to me to start the second half is huge. And if Illinois can somehow score and get a 17-point lead, I mean, I'm not saying the game is going to be over, but Illinois does a really good job of ball control. And that's something that's really going to probably frustrate South Carolina, because if you give Brett Bielema a lead with 10 minutes to go or 12 minutes to go in the second half of any game, he's just not going to throw the ball down the field. This is the part of the podcast where Matt and I laugh, because this is the one time I want to see them run the ball, get a first down, run the ball, get a first down, and eat the clock up. And then you don't leave any time for South Carolina. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen Illinois do that this year. That's why to start the second half, if they could come out and get a stop and score and put another point, whether it be a field goal, another touchdown on the board, I like their chances.
Yeah, I tell you what, let's also go one other point here I think is really interesting. Central Illinois recruiting. We've heard a lot about, do you really need to be good in Central Illinois recruiting? And yet let's take Hank Beatty had a beautiful play. You've got Aiden Lowry play. I mean, I could not believe the stop that he came to and then went, in another direction. That was like Barry Sanders. Like,
he's fresh and healthy. It makes a difference, doesn't it?
Exactly. Are we seeing a little bit of why Brett Bielema wants to keep him home? Now, we know he hasn't hit all of his goals there, but we're seeing that Illinois football players staying at Illinois, playing for Illinois, can make a difference.
Yeah, I think Aiden has been a real big lift in the Central Illinois Power Company that Brett Bielema has built with Caden Fagan, who is here but is hurt and not playing. Mike, I also just want to say, like, to Sturdy's point, I have that fear too that Illinois' defense is going to wear down. Guys, it rained nonstop this morning, and it's like you guys have all been in South Florida, I assume. Like, it is muggy as all hell. It's 100% humidity. I imagine that they're doing this substitution pattern. They were going to do it anyway. But, like, Brett doesn't want his big people. I don't think the big people of Illinois have been on the field for more than 20 snaps. Like, they are taking T-Raw and Dennis Briggs off the field constantly. I think they're going to be as fresh as they possibly could be for the second half. The other thing I would say is I think Aiden Lawfrey has turned a corner ever since a month ago at Wrigley Field. And then, again, guys, I talked to Bart Miller about – we took the playbook and basically ripped it in half and said, here's what in my right hand is what we've been doing well. In our left hand is what we're trying to do to mimic everybody else in the country so that we can look really cool. How about we just do the stuff in our right hand that we're really good at? And that was really how they turned the corner in that second bye week. They're showing that today. I also think that Illinois has blocked South Carolina up front, minus the first drive, really, really well, and ball has come out for Luke. So I think offensively they have a good plan as well. The last thing I'll point out is Beamer ball has been an absolute failure through 30 minutes. Shane Beamer and his dad were known for special teams. Well, the kick return didn't go as well as they had hoped because I think they thought they were trying to get a free ball and a free turnover on the drop kick. The first punt return, Ryan Mead got jacked in the back, and South Carolina almost lost the football because that was a live ball. And then I'll even count the fake field goal that they kind of ran, the jump shot pass that they threw. Ryan Mead had made a beautiful play to cover the middle of the field. And then at the end of the half, they doinked the field goal off the upright. So, you talk about Brett Bielema as keys, run the ball. Illinois has effectively run the football as well as they probably thought they could. Stop the run. Lenoir Sellers hasn't broken anything in the run game. Cover kicks. Illinois has been really, really good on special teams and a lot better than South Carolina. So I think Illinois has gone 3 for 3 through 30 minutes. If they can keep it up, they'll win the first bowl game in the program since 2001. Even longer than that. 2011. First bowl win since 2011 for Illinois. They're 30 minutes away from it. It's because Bielema's 3 keys. I think they've gone 3 for 3.
Right. Yeah, talking about your Central Illinois thing, they get an Irwin next year. How about Braden Trimble? And they're hoping they get another one the following year in J.C. Anderson. So
holy cow,
that would be huge. Hank Beatty's. I thought Hank Beatty showed up big. He showed some. He's got that quickness coming in out of those cuts where he can get open and create that. And I thought they're using him a little bit. I mean, not as much, but a little bit like they used Isaiah in that scheme. Now, and honestly, I thought Hank was in the end zone on this touchdown too. I thought he got the pylon. So
I was going to ask. We can't tell, but I thought they should have reviewed that because
it looked like he was in. But I think they thought he's 6 inches. They're going to score anyway. It's first and goal, right? So, but yeah, I thought he was in, and so Hank's been great. Matthew Bailey's the other guy from Moline, right? Maybe not Central Illinois, but boy, he's been huge today. So ton of kids homie. Gets homie there. But it's been great. I mean, they can recruit. You can get some good players. I mean, I'm not saying all of them are going to be there, but they also have a guy coming from Moreau Forsyth who's a little bit under the radar a little bit. So we'll see how that pans out too. So yeah, I like what Brett Bielema does in state.
Can you guys, I know both teams have players out, but could you imagine if the game plan would be different if Pat Bryant was playing? Would the score be different? That's the bad thing about these bowl games is that you see all these players opt out of, the game before this one, the Michigan and Alabama game. I mean, I get the fact that this whole NFL thing and they want to protect themselves, but I wish there was something they could do differently because, Zachary Franklin is great, but Pat Bryant just was special this year. So it would be nice, to have everybody there, but I know it's not going to happen.
Hey, guys should play in the bowl games. They get paid more in college than they do in the NFL now. I mean, what's it?
Yeah, and it's guaranteed money. Kind of.
Exactly. That's crazy.
You play for basketball, Florida State.
Well, Ken, he's here. Pat's here, and if you want me to take a picture with him, I can. He's on the sideline today. I think also Illinois made the trade that I think that they'll take 100 times out of 100, which is we'll sit Pat Bryant if you're going to sit Kyle Kennard and Rocket Sanders. I think that's been a major issue for South Carolina is that they have not been able to rush the passer the way that they want to without Kyle Kennard, and they have not been able to run the football without Rocket.
So I have to say, if South Carolina and Alabama are playoff teams, then Illinois is a playoff caliber team, it looks like to me, and so is Michigan. So there we go. So I guess we need to expand the playoff to 32 teams because
don't give anybody any ideas, Brad.
or
Friday,
just leave it like it is and say, you know what? None of those teams should have been in. They didn't win enough.
On Friday, guys, Brett Bielema has told me that he thought that 2025 Illinois is a playoff caliber football team starting in spring ball. So
he said that.
Let's not. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you wait till my heat checks column coming out Thursday morning.
So the bar of expectations has been set. We're 30 minutes away from Illinois getting its first bowl win since 2011, and I also think that I'll go one further, Brad, is that I think this has been a rather auspicious 30-minute debut for Mike Shula as the play caller at South Carolina. I don't think that when you have one of the better quarterbacks coming back in the country and Lenoir Sellers, you really haven't done anything on offense dynamic that would suggest that this is not having Dow Loggins today is not a good thing if you're a South Carolina Gamecocks fan. And I think Illinois has taken full advantage of the idea that I think South Carolina just seems discombobulated on offense.
Yeah, and I forgot Malik Elsie had a good play as well. So it has been a good day
First catch since September 20th for
Yes.
one Malik Elzy, and he looked damn good on that 11-yard swing pass.
Yes, he did.
He looked healthy too. To Brad's point, Malik looked healthy too because he's missed the last 3 games with an injury as well.
Yeah, so it's great to see that. Now, as the second half goes on, let's each give a couple keys what you're looking for that Illinois needs to do here in the second half.
Yeah, quickly, I was really, really interested to see if Seth Coleman was going to get in this football game. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. He did dress. He was active in warmups. I just don't think Brett Bielema wants to push it because he has a Senior Bowl invite. But he did try to give it a go, and I did watch Seth go through warmups. So he might try to go in the second half, but I think Illinois has rotated in a lot of their guys. I think the key, guys, is that I think they need to be able to run the football. The touchdown drive was the 6th longest touchdown drive that Illinois has had this season. If they can continue to do well on third down, and I thought Sturdy made an excellent point. When the field gets condensed in the red zone, that's when Aaron Henry feels more confident about blitzing. When it's from inside the 20s and the 20s and there's a lot of open field, Illinois doesn't feel good about that because open field for South Carolina, they have a lot of dynamic athletes that they can't account for. I think you're going to continue to see that. I think Aaron Henry is going to be real aggressive on third down. You're seeing that Rabbits package where like Kiana Ogaloga is now at nose tackle. And I think you're going to see him be real aggressive with Illinois' speed on third down and what they do. But I think South Carolina's got to come up with a dynamic game plan in the run game. Otherwise, I think Illinois wins the football game.
I think the big key is Illinois got to score points. They can't win with 7. They got to be able to get to 20 points, I think, to win this game. And I think if they do that, they'll win. And that's where that's got to be their goal.
For me, they got to come out and they have to get off the field, 3 and out. If it's not 3 and out, get off the field. Then you have to score right away, and then you get another stop. And like I agree with Brad, I think the game is there, but you have to continue to make adjustments.
Yeah, and we're being pointed out now. I have not fact checked this, but we are pointing out that this is the crew that made the Utah AD come out and say how bad the refereeing was, and got himself a $40,000 fine.
Good. So they're not good. So.
Yeah, and yet on the broadcast they're trying to sell us that this is an all-star crew from the Big 12. Wow. As we look at this, we're just about ready to start the third quarter, so we're going to go away from this. Thank you, everybody, for coming on. We will have an Illini Guys live post-game show as well with Brad, Ked, and I, and then we'll have Matt come on a little later. It's always weird to try to time that out, but we'll try to do our best to get you at least 1, maybe 2 live shows after the game. Okay, folks, until the end of the game, go Illini.